teams, right? I don't know if Chicken Contenders was walking in with that expectation. Something that we like to refer to a game that should be super winnable for a team is a trap game.
Yep.
And I think we might have saw that a little bit for Fusion University. But again, that was last game. Let's talk about Mayhem Academy and Second Wind, who are both going to be rocking their Winstons. But I'm 37. Hey, go to their Twitter. Second Wind's got a great compilation of this guy. It's actually a really, really great video. So if you want to learn a little bit more about I'm 37 during this game or during a break, that's where I would go. Is they're going to get a mid-air stun grenade off. I-37 already showed up. The first thing he does is get a mid-air stun grenade onto Shax, who dies first, and Mayhem Academy is going to have to give up this point potentially for it. Trades have come through. Two members from each side are back at spawn, so this is the 4v4. And now we're seeing the POV of arguably the brains, the excitement, the tempo, everything for this team, and that is this Gods on D.Va.
Gods has been an absolute clutch factor for Second Wind in the past, and now Sherrick swapping onto the Reinhardt as well. Second Wind still trickling onto this point. Mayhem Academy have the advantage. Rally already popped for Mungachu. That is how good of a Brigitte he is, but trades, you know, both teams losing their main tanks.
Yeah, Speedily going to have one just a couple seconds behind, and usually the second support ultimate finds value. This is a good self-destruct coming from Gods, isolating Eps in the backline. There is nowhere to hide for him. Second Wind are going to bring this one back, take over the point, which is good news for them, as this one can be very hard to play.
Oh, catching all of these annoying mobile heroes in the very end, finally wiping Mayhem Academy off of the point is going to be the name of Second Wind's game. Gods, you know, I'm just going to say maybe he has a celestial connection to, you know, those angles, those lobbed
Where
bombs.
Would you draw that?
I don't know. But Mayhem Academy, they will now have a trance of their own, and I am 37, man alive. He's in here for Ice, so definitely a new player for Second Wind, but he's been worth his while. 90% already to the Zarya. Remember, he was on this hero second.
Yep, and is already ahead of Shax in terms of that grab charge. So Second Win already looking good with this new GTS player, and I love that they've continued to like find these unknowns. And you know, the clips are obviously for competitive, and you know, and taking these players and making them professional. Shax though is going to get Sherrick, so this is a 65 for Mayhem Academy, our #1 team in Team A right now. So now they have to try to bring this point back. We saw earlier with Manage and how hard it can be for a team to flip this point. Second Wind are doing their best to make sure they're making it as hard as possible for Mayhem Academy right now.
IM37 though will finally go down. My question after watching that great compilation is that, you know, IM37, this happens to a lot of players who are on the ladder. It's not just about, you know, shining individually, but how you play amongst your teammates. Zarya specifically has a lot of offensive but also defensive potential. You have to be seeing good ally and self bubbles, the peel there for Hello, I'm Halo and Bird. As Shax looking for an early grab.
Here we go. Shax is going to go ahead and assert his dominance a little bit. Both bubbles are going to be, he's going to have that self-bubble, and that means he can be a lot more aggressive, and Fact Fiction's not going to be able to use that Earth Shatter. Sherrick was able to get theirs through. The self-barrier from Shax was fancy, but it's not going to be enough because it only protects yourself. Second Win are going to potentially flip this point once again, and we're already seeing a pretty even matchup between both of these teams.
There's actually been really fast flops between these two
especially
sides.
On this map.
Especially on Control Center. That giant Fabergé egg in the middle is such a great hiding place, and it's so hard to clean up, you know, people like Lucio's and those last squirrely couple of members. Mayhem Academy coming back in here. They have ultimates aplenty, but the question is, can they actually use them?
Well, we saw Fusion University have ultimates aplenty and still lose out those fights, so it's not a guarantee. You still have to do everything correctly. Sometimes it's good to paint in the lines. Mayhem Academy, though, Shaxi already taken 3 in a row. Backfiction Earthshatter's going through, not going to find anybody. Shax unable to throw that Graviton Surge. I don't believe Shax has used a single grab so far this map because he was really far behind, maybe one, but this one's been around for a long time.
Yeah, he's holding it so long he's going to have a cramp. Desperation Trance now from Eps, but Hello, I'm Halo, able to meet him with the Sound Barrier when necessary. Not going to be necessary, as Fact Fiction is the last member of Mayhem Academy left on this point.
The rally's going to help things out for Second Wind as well. This overtime wick might not last very long. Pax is going to do absolutely nothing to the rest of the team with that Graviton Surge. A for effort, that's for sure. I love seeing that actually, because a lot of times I'll see a team just like give up that last
just
2%.
stand still.
But
right.
Shax went for it, right? He went in there, used that grab, tried his best. I like that he kept fighting. That's good to see. Second Wind kept fighting a little bit harder though, fighting themselves up 1-0. That was back and forth for sure.
I really liked kind of the confidence that Second Wind had moving into their second engage. We're going to go harken all the way back to the Stone Age right here, but I am 37 holding on, Bird holding on, Hello I'm Halo holding on to those ultimates, choosing to die and give up the point to Mayhem Academy, who used those in the last fight, knowing, confident that they would be able to make a decisive re-engage. That's not something that we see from teams very often. Usually you see every ultimate popped in a desperation to stall just for more percentage. And that just kind of goes to show, you know, Second Wind and their faith in their new player, IM7 on this Zarya, and the way that they can, you know, take clean team fights.
Oh, Megachu in that wall, fitting snugly in that choke right now. No kills, Gods is going to get frozen, but it's still alive. Second Wind support doing absolute work against Mayhem Academy for the time being, but no, the rest of Mayhem Academy were able to take down Second Wind. They are going to own at this point.
Ooh, I can see your halo. Poor Hello I'm Halo. That's a sad ragdoll right there, but Second Wind still, you know, have a good re-engage coming back in. They'll have to face back Fiction's Earthshatter, but Sherrick potentially can just leap out of the way now that he swapped onto the Winston. Ooh, from behind!
And Bird's going to take a little bit of a nap, but he's going to go down as well. God's going to get a traded kill, so this is still a 5v5 as both rallies are going to be launched out. Mangachu still working up to that Blizzard. Will manage to be able to get to that grab. Yes, and Epps is going to get that Transcendence as well. Epps, one of the most improved members of Mayhem Academy. Almost every single one of them could get that award, I think. The team is just so much better this season than they were. But one thing has changed, and that's Mangachu bringing that energy, bringing that leadership and experience into Mayhem Academy. It's part of the reason why you're finding them up right now.
He's the tip of the spear for the Mayhem Academy attack. Just throw Mangachu in there. He's not only good enough, but he can also execute, and he's willing to go for those plays. He has the Blizzard now. Epps will not be, hopefully, late on the Transcendence as he was in the last season. Again, very much improved Mayhem Academy team, ready to try and push this point into last fight territory.
Maniton has that Graviton Surge, which can be comboed with that Blizzard very, very well, as Gods is going to have to get the sound barrier invested into him as he's almost deep neck. I-37 is going to go ahead and use that Graviton Surge, as he's going to use that Transcendence. It was a little late, so Mayhem Academy are not going to survive this fight, and Mangachu did throw out the Blizzard. No avail, doesn't cancel it. I didn't see the animation, so I don't think it actually went through. Mayhem Academy are going to be losing out this point. Second Wind are going to flip it, but Mayhem Academy are able to get it to 80. They'll get to 80%, which is like 1.5 fight potential when you're trying to reach that point again. But no, they're coming back as Epps and Shax are coming back. Paintbrush too. They're the ones that are coming through with those spawns. Second Wind should have owned that fight. I'm sorry, everyone. I was already on to the next one, but Mayhem Academy were not. They're going to own this point.
No,
they should not have been able to get let through, but there is some individual plays. Epps must have heard us say, oh, that was late, that's bad, and he's going to go ahead and frag it out instead, because Mangachu going to get another early kill on to these Second Wind. Feng with just 5 members. Derek going to have to do some work with those fists. That he does. Mangachu is out of this team in this game, as Gods is also going to help them stay in this as well. Second Wind have found themselves on top in terms of numbers. Mayhem Academy, now it really doesn't matter if they win or lose this fight, because if they get to those ultimates, the next fights are going to be a lot harder. I'm 37 going to invest the grab into this fight. They have to, because Mayhem Academy is at 99%. So 2 fights that maybe should have ended this don't end it. The sloppiness coming from both sides, or maybe that's just the grit coming from both sides as well. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B as well.
Indeed, and Mayhem Academy, I love this never say die attitude, or maybe I'll love this Reaper more. Oh my goodness, Mangachu coming in here. Okay. Epps onto the Moira as well, just to make sure that our favorite Creepy Reapy stays alive and healthy. Paintbrush ready with that sound barrier as well. So Second Wind, again, their destiny is in their hands. They have to make that first move.
You don't pick Reaper unless you want to make an immediate impact. Right now, Mangachu not really doing that, as Paintbrush going to have to use that sound barrier, as Epps doesn't have a Transcendence because he's on a Moira. Sherrick going to get Earthshattered into the hole, so at least he's able to come right back, and someone else was knocked into the hole. I believe it was Shax. So Mayhem Academy are going to function at 65. We see how big knocking people into the hole is. It's pretty much an environmental kill.
I mean, yeah, it's tantamount to, you know, a kill because you're going to be functioning at a huge man disadvantage for however long it takes them to climb those stairs. But Mangachu coming back in here, 73% up to a Death Blossom. That could be good, but the question is he going to stay alive in the cast duration? Because Epps now on this Moira will have Coalescence, but Paintbrush very far away from the sound barrier.
Yeah,
not to mention, you know, Sherrick's Primal Rage can just knock that Reaper into next Tuesday.
Yeah, Good is not that great of an impact, but Mayhem Academy are going to find that first kill. So second win, finding themselves behind, and Sherrick using the Primal Rage to keep themselves in it. If Mayhem Academy, whoever really wins this fight, will be winning the round, but Mayhem Academy need this to stay in this game, as Halo and Management are going to be going down. Mangachu finally finding some value with this Reaper. Is going to hold on to the Death Blossom for the time being, as Bird's going to have to invest that nano because they need to keep themselves in this fight.
Yes, and now the point flipped right from underneath Second Wind's feet. Mangachu still has the Death Blossom. He hasn't quite yet, you know, felt like the Lily of Lifeness, but there we have it. Spin to win, folks, and Mayhem Academy will wrap up this point.
And so it's going to be tied 1-1. Of all the games today, I think this one was the most, unless you count Fuji University's Mythos, right? This is the one that's probably the most likely to go to Game 5, and we're seeing how back and forth this is. 1-1, both points back and forth. 99-99, I believe, on that last one. Remember, all of a sudden being close counts for me, right? I'm very consistent. Second win, though. They faltered a little bit on that second round. Mayhem Academy obviously made some adjustments. What were those adjustments, Ham?
I mean, pulling out a May right off of the bat, it's a hero that Mangachu has had in his back pocket for the longest of times, and it would be a shame not to, you know, use not only the map geometry, but, you know, the player that you have on tap to make usage of that. So, Reaper a little bit more of a questionable choice. I'm actually really curious what Second Wind was going with, putting Sherrick on the Winston on a map that really favors that Reinhardt Zarya going, stretching back ages. Now, though, as we move on to Gardens, this is where Winstons can get a lot more value, especially on this high ground, booping people off.
In fact, Fiction may have made it through this map without getting hit by a car. And so that's still...
That happened.
Yep. Epps is going to get that first kill onto I-37. He's made a pretty good debut. Good debuts all around. Jai doing some good work last time. Hello, I'm Halo getting a boot kill onto Paintbrush. He might have been treading a little bit too close. Thread the needle a little bit. Second win, though. And Mayhem Academy just trading right now. Second win have a little bit more at their disposal, especially now that Management is out of that mech. It's most likely that they're going to be grabbing this version.
Great peel, by gods. We talk about this guy's diva prowess time and time again, but that was one of the moments where you really see it come through. It's not just about receiving resources from your team, but giving them to Bird was very, very low, getting focused down by Manitin. Gods came to his rescue, and now we see second win comfortable on this, well, third point.
And so second win looking tidy, looking neat, spark and joy for themselves. Mayhem Academy only had that rally. Fact Fiction, and at the current time, Shaxx, Fact Fiction, and Epps will all be getting to their ultimates very soon, but I want to bring your eyes to those Lucios. Paintbrush so far behind. Hello, I'm Halo, able to get credit on those boot kills, therefore getting the ult charge there. So let's see if that's going to come into play. Paintbrush will not have a sound barrier in this fight. Mayhem Academy might be looking at the junk rush, but Fact Fiction going to get stunned out of that Earth Shatter, and now Bird's going to have to use that Transcendence to keep all the second win alive. Maybe if he knew that Earth Shatter was going to be stunned, that wasn't the case. Jared needs to be saved by the sound barrier, but right now they actually flipped the point, so second win unable to take this fight on the actual objective. They do lose out in the end. They invest almost everything in it, and Mayhem Academy take the W.
Yeah, Mayhem Academy now ticking up slowly towards 20% Paintbrush, 70% to that sound barrier. You know, I do get my numbers from somewhere, but second win coming back in here will have essentially a free grab as long as they can get it, pop it early enough that Paintbrush won't have that Lucio ultimate in his back pocket. So a good re-engage is still possible for second win.
Well, it has to be their communication with the support who are tracking this ults. They have to tell second win there's no other ults on the other side. Manitin, though, is going to get that kill on it to Bird. They're giving them a little bit too much respect. I don't think they assume Mayhem Academy Academy had any other ultimates, as they're slow playing this a little bit, I'm37 could have just opened from ground.
They've also, had a hard time keeping Bird alive, as well timed as his trance was in that last fight, and as well as Gods peeled for him a little bit earlier on. Mayhem Academy have been focusing down the second wind backline a lot better than second wind have been doing for theirs. So that is something that they have to keep in mind here. Frontal offense is always great, but for the longer sustained fight, you got to keep your supports up.
So Factfish is going to have to drop down onto the ground, and Jack's using that ally barrier to keep him alive. You got to get to that grab because there's one on the other side. Second one's going to go ahead and use that combo. But there are counters on the other side, even though Mayhem Academy, who are very well known for layering their support ultimate, do just that. They still find themselves in the driver's seat so far. They're going to go ahead and throw out that grab because they say if we win this, we win the round and the map. Second win do keep it close. They were unable to maintain 6 members there in the end game of Oasis.
They still have 8 seconds left. Speedily going to be trying to live up to his name and get that Hammond onto the point. God's throwing a self-destruct, trying to buy a little bit of time, and oh, the stun just barely misses.
And the Earth Shatter is going to get Manitin, but not much more. They almost focus down the mech, but Sherrick actually going to get a charge kill onto Mangachi, so this is definitely an opening for second win. A good pile drive is going to keep everyone from Mayhem Academy guessing. Factfish using that Earth Shatter, not really finding much. Sherrick on the edge of death right now. Looking at the HP, there are supports. Finally, he does get a health pack. And so Mayhem Academy are finding themselves in the backseat this time around. Second wind finding themselves on the kill feed. This is still pretty easy.
Yeah, a little bit of a second wind right here. Mayhem Academy not able to clean up their plate. And now it will be 38% for second win, just at the very brink of defeat. However, Mayhem Academy themselves, they have plenty of time to go for a clean engage. While IM37 will have a grab online, and hello, I'm Halo ready with that sound barrier. In the past, Mayhem Academy has just sped onto the point with such alacrity that second win not able to react.
So I'm37 with this rev is ready and willing. There really isn't anything to combo on it. They might not get an opportunity to do that because the fight's happening right now. And I'm37 going to go ahead and drop the grab, and it's going to get eaten. The defense matrix finding that value. Mayhem Academy now find themselves in the driver's seat. The Earth Shatter coming from Sherrick does find some members of Mayhem Academy, but not enough. Ep's going to be using that Transcendence. Factfish almost gets bullied out of this fight. Really good ally barrier to keep him alive. The focus was there. The Earth Shatter is as well, but no one's on the ground because everyone's fighting every which way on second win. When the team gets split apart like that, it's so easy for a GOAT composition to isolate and kill. It's like a school of sharks.
Instead of bend and snap, it's isolate and kill.
Yeah, exactly.
Mayhem Academy, man, they're really showing their stuff right here. That veteran attitude, I would say, in the very last seconds of these fights. Not panicking ever, always focusing down the right targets here. Sherrick not going to be lasting too much longer, as Mayhem Academy take a pretty easy first win.
Yeah, and so, the percentages were close, and there was a lot of flip-flopping, but when it matters, Mayhem Academy showed their stuff. One thing I was really worried about is when Epps and Paintbrush layered their ultimates, Epps was late on a trance on a University, and I was like, oh no, if Mayhem Academy go back to their old habits, then all the work that they've done, we might not be seeing in this game, but they were able to clean it up when it mattered at the end of that third round, and they do take it and go up 1-0.
It did feel like, although IM37 certainly had some hot moments in Oasis, that yeah, this team is still working through some of those kinks, right? Anytime you're adding a player into such a vital role as your Zarya, right, you're not going to be probably getting quite as much value from those grabs. Maybe people aren't quite positioned. A lot of because we shouted out IM37 for his very fast ultimate charge, but it's not just about having it, but how you use it. Is anybody actually around to capitalize off of this? So that's, something that hopefully Second Wind will be keeping in the back of their minds as we move forward.
Well, the other thing that Second Wind needs to do is they got to close it out. Something that we've seen from, I think one of the biggest differences between teams that with experience and teams that are new here in Contenders is that closeout clutch ability. Just on the sole basis that they haven't been there that much. To be completely honest, Mayhem Academy hasn't really been super clutch in the past, right? They missed playoffs last season, barely. They were middling, 4th through 7th team throughout Contenders until this season, and Mangachi really just did something to this team, maybe gave them the confidence that they deserved, because 5 of these members have been playing together since last season. Only 1 is different, but we're seeing them achieve so much more right now.
What a difference. Right? Sometimes you simply need that leader at the very front of the pack, making those calls, going in, just press and cue, right? So Yeah, I think that second win, they're still definitely in this fight. They just got to, you know, make some of those adjustments because Mayhem Academy have, you know, really tightened everything up.
Barely though, right? Like again, and I always say barely because of this game, because there were instances where some of old Mayhem Academy definitely showed up in that round. They did lose one of the rounds, so that was
Old Man Mayhem.
Old Man Mayhem, right? We're going to bring that one right back. And so now that we're going into Eichenwald, we might be seeing a little bit of difference in terms of team comp. I actually really do want to see IM37 on some hit scan because
Genji.
There's actually like a really funny part of that clip, just to give you a little bit more history, where he has these insane flicks. It's actually against XQC. And
is this guy cheating? This guy's definitely cheating.
and so and then he misses a ulting McCree 2 times in a row after getting these like nutty flicks, right?
Super great flicks, and then a guy who's barely moving
Yep,
can't hit.
It's that subversion of expectation, right? When it's like super easy, a lot of the times that's when professionals will mess up. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is a show for a reason, right?
Exactly. I mean, I would hope to see IM37 on Flash and, you know, some of that Genji skill, actually.
Stuff.
He has some crazy
on
dashes.
This map.
And yes, and on this map specifically, earlier today we saw Bermuda pull out Genji, you know, to like greater and less success here on Eichenwald, but it's certainly possible, right? Especially if, you know, you pull out a Pharah, you pull out a Sombra, something like that, to enable the Genji to get a little bit more value in the face of all of these barriers. You just EMP him, take them all away.
Well, there's a lot of places for him to swift strike, dip, dive, dodge, right? And keep himself safe. And in the last game, that might have been a good time to run a little bit of Genji because Suppose was on Ana the whole time. And right now, you need that durability because you're usually going into a Brig on the other side.
Yeah.
If not, it's still nice to have, right? But there was an amazing clip in his video where he takes 3 people without touching the ground using his swift strike resets.
Gets a full
180s.
pharmacy by himself.
Yep, and doesn't touch the ground and then dies the second he does. And then,
Classic
and then I love that. That means that obviously second win and I'm37 have a sense of humor, and that gives a little bit of insight in like their team atmosphere too, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of insight into that Crusader armor too. As Second Wind going to be attacking first here, so Mayhem Academy likely not going to be swapping off of this composition. I'm very excited to see Bob do something. As Magachu on his favorite floating Pharah. I cannot wait. This guy, I feel like every time he's on screen, I learn something else just about how hard you can dominate other people most of the time.
So
good
at this fair. But that means I'm37 might be able to switch to McCree. Hey, there it is. And so we are going to be able to see that. That was another one in his compilation. It was probably his like second or third best one in the compilation. Is Widow and Genji were a little bit more impressive. I'm37 though going to hopefully make me eat my words because I love seeing McCree's pop off. Means that's high skill, but nothing really compares to Mangachu on Vera in terms of high skill. The dude,
58% to Barrage.
yeah, Mangachu is known for this character, has been known since Season 0, before Season 0, during the Carbon series was playing this character. So Mayhem Academy feeling good with Mangachu on this Vera, who almost has Barrage. No one else over 50% other than Paintbrush.
This is actually super crazy. Second Wind taking so much damage before they can even get onto the point. They're going to eat a face full of rockets. The second that they peek out of these hallways is just the feeling. IM37, as good of a McCree as he is, it's still a hero that requires quite a bit of setup, and especially against a team that's functioning so well together as Mayhem Academy right now.
Well, the other thing about Mangachu, he's probably used to going against McCree. McCree's not landing his hits, so Farah's going to win that fight. And so Second Wind's going to have to use that rally to get themselves on the point. The first time they've even touched it so far, they do get a free tick. They get a headshot with that McCree. The tracking onto the Mercy wasn't quite there. Standing still, that rocket barrage is exactly when you want to take her down. There's press Q and die in the past, and press Q and die in the present. Mayhem Academy looked good on that Pharah, but Second Wind patiently waiting for the right opportunity. Another sign of that maturity on an unsigned team. Good stuff.
Very patient push from Second Wind, slowly taking that space, and even though they got chunked down with so much damage, I'm37, yes, it will be back to the Zarya for this guy. Feels bad, man, I was having such a good time. But Second Wind, you know, recognizing that this is the more consistent composition on Street Space, but that does mean that they will be behind in some of those ults.
Yeah, McCree it'd be very hard to find value as McCree here. As Bird's going to use the Transcendence. There isn't a grab on the other side, so maybe felt safe through that, but that Fiction is going to get a kill and then go down himself. Paintbrushes and Bird are going to trade more kills, so this is a 4v4. This is better for the defense. Second Wind might be waiting for all members, but no, they're actually going to go ahead and touch the payload, give some progress. Mayhem Academy have some space to give.
Yeah, they want to go for that better fight, especially since the trance is now off the table for second wind. That's a free grab for Shaxx if he can build up that ultimate charge very quickly here. Second wind, though, this is the place where Diva bombs live. Gods has that ultimate at the ready, and everybody's so vulnerable. They're on the high ground. They drop. Fact Fiction's down.
Yeah, so 65 per second win. Gods might not even need the bomb in this case, and is not going to have to use it. You know, you were saying that bombs are so good here unless you throw yourself off like Bernard did.
Oh my gosh.
One of the best divas in the game, right? Same thing with Nice with the street sign and Fact Fiction with the car.
Nice
right?
grabbing the ground.
Yeah,
Nice
exactly.
grabbing the
It's
wall.
nice to know that these guys are human.
Yes. But Mayhem Academy going to be hoping to be superhuman here.
Because I've done that.
Oh no, I've done it so many times. We don't want to talk about that. But Shatter still online here for Fact Fiction. Coming back in here, only finds one, but that's IM37 stunned. Trance, though, does come in.
Gods is going to get that first kill. The Fact Fiction using Feng first in the last 2 or 3 fights. Mayhem Academy now only have the 5 members. Gods is going to use that self-destruct, not find anyone with it, but it's going to help second wind position themselves onto the payload. It does move a little bit further. No C9s here. The Graviton Surge has gone through. Not a ton of deaths just yet, but maybe they've done enough to keep Mayhem Academy at bay. Fact Fiction gonna get Sherrick. Hello and Halo investing the sound barrier, but speedily goes down, unable to save his friend. Gods is gonna go down as well. They're gonna go ahead and reset.
That was like a mega IQ sound barrier then from Paintbrush. Was just about to say a big overinvestment from this Lucio, but when you can boop off, you know, 2 or 3 members of the opposing team, what's a sound barrier here or there? So Paintbrush, you know, painting with a little bit more than the colors of the wind right now, as second wind have to make a full circle back to the cart. That was so close to finally inching into that point B, as second wind have essentially reset all of their ultimates, but this Earth Shatter is, oh man, God's not just good for his bombs and peel.
See, but the other thing that does is it forces every member of Mayhem Academy back onto the payload, which might give second wind an opportunity to come back on this offense. Earthshatter not going to find anything with that Graviton Surge coming from Mayhem Academy. You see what happens when there isn't a Transcendence or Sound Barrier on the other side to counter a grab. It is a death sentence.
That was kind of an awkward fight right there. A great move by Gods just to see if, you know, sometimes those windows of opportunity just present themselves to you. You got to try and make the most of it. But second wind still eat the wrong end of a Graviton Surge, and Sherrick's Earthshatter tossed into the wind.
Yeah, there's a difference between window shopping and actually going into the window, right?
Yes.
And that time there was no shopping. They bursted through. They broke through. It's like a movie glass type of window situation. And now second wind trying to make a good ending to their movie here on Eichenwald. The self-destruct is going to get into the backline. Manitin almost doesn't make it back into his mech. God's going to use that self-destruct in the backline as well. Earthshatter going to knock Sherrick onto the ground. Fact Fiction not finding a ton out of that, but Manitin and the rest of the team don't need a ton. Gods is going to throw himself off. Hello and Halo will be getting the credit onto that boot kill, giving him some old charge, but that's going to be the only nice thing for them on this fight. Now they have a minute left.
Oh my gosh, Paintbrush. He has been getting so much value from these boops right here. Mayhem Academy really almost don't even need to invest ultimates at certain points of these fights because the boosts have just been so well positioned. Mayhem Academy owned this high ground in second wind with only 42 seconds left to try and make something happen. They're hoping for a great grab from IM37.
This is the last fight, and IM37 has that grab. Paintbrush already used the sound barrier, so the Graviton Surge, we saw how brutal the last one without support ultimates was. It's going to be a little less brutal this time around for second wind, as Mayhem Academy have actually made this a 3v4. Shaxx going to go ahead and invest that Graviton Surge, but too little too late on that one. Mayhem Academy almost holds second wind, but it's a little too late. Mayhem Academy are going to have to try to hold them on the last one.
Yeah, interesting grab right there from Shaxx. That was, they might be going for the re-engage, and yes! Oh! Shatter!
Oh, that shatter is huge! IM37 almost gets taken down. I love what Mayhem Academy did. You know, other teams would have just given them that, but they're going to go ahead and fight for this. We're seeing that grit one more time, and I love seeing it. 5v5 now onto this payload. Mayhem Academy looking much healthier than second wind right now because Gods has not made it back into his mech. He's actually needed all of the support to keep him alive. As IM37, though, gonna get the D-mech, and the rest of second wind don't freak out. They get the kills because of the grab. Second wind find themselves on top of Mayhem Academy. You know, there was some clenched things out there.
Sphincters?
Yeah.
Mine was. So IM37 is I'm 37, the second grab in a second fight. That's great work from that Zarya, but again, just paintbrush, man. Not only coordinating that speed boost, all of Mayhem Academy investing so heavily in that last defense has cut second wind down to just a minute. Rally in now from Speedily. He's hoping to give his tanks that buffer to work up to some more of those ultimates because Manitin is on Junkrat. You have seen that correctly, folks.
Backfiction gonna go ahead and throw. Oh, there was an Earth Shatter there already at 25% on the next one. Sherrick going down is gonna make things a little easier, especially with Gods out of the mech. So not a ton of deep on the second win side, but Mayhem Academy with Manitin on Junkrat. I feel a little suspect on it this one. A good boop almost caused a little bit of trouble for second win there. But Mayhem Academy do end up giving all 3 points, almost holding on that second point after a really sweet re-engage. The grit showing all the way from Shax, you know, trying his best solo on Oasis City Center. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Mayhem Academy.
It's that never say die attitude.
Yeah.
Right? We used to cast quite a bit of South American contenders, and that was kind of one of the things about the region that so charmed us. Was every fight was, you know, you came into every fight as if you could win it. Right? Every defense was going to be the last defense. So, you know, Mayhem Academy showing some of that same grit right now. Yeah, and we say that in such like a loving way because it made every fight important. Right? It could swing either way. We've seen, you know, 3 members take down 6 members in South America. We've seen it here occasionally, but it's a little bit more common down in South America. Mayhem Academy, though, giving up all 3 points with 39 seconds left. That definitely fell away from them at the end. They were playing very well at points, but unfortunately, second wind were able to use their own true grit and get that and get them those 3 points. Bird, though, does need to watch for that positioning. One of the reasons that second wind had a hard time on Streets phase was he was forced to pop trance very early on because he was caught very far away from the rest of his team and needed to use it to save himself. That's not the kind of value that you hope for from such an impactful ultimate. So second wind, that's just something that they gotta, you know, tighten up for their defensive round as Mayhem Academy gonna be hitting them with all the bullets, the rockets, the hammers, the pile drivers. As we are going to see Mangachu once again reprise his role as Queen of the Skies. Even the way he does that is cool, right? Just how fast he was moving. Little bits of Pharah tech. Exactly. Starting using a rocket jump. It's like the first thing you learn. But Mayhem Academy and Mangachu made that look fancy, and I think you have to respect the Pharah. Second wind this time around aren't going to have an opportunity to switch onto McCree and take him down. But it doesn't seem to be mattering. Mayhem Academy unable to make it onto this point. Not a really big deal as they're waiting for the Barrage EMP combo anyway. Sherrick very close to death right there. Manages to get the armor pack from Speedily. He's been playing a pretty good rig game so far. Mangachu, though, doing Mangachu things 75% to some justice. As we have Paintbrush also very close to the Valkyrie. However, this means that there's not really any bodies to contest the point, running a solo hammock. No! Bird! The bird is the word, taking the bird out of the sky, but Shax on that Tracer is going to be doing some work himself. Going to be silencing Bird. Mayhem Academy. Manitin is stunned. He is now on the Sombra, so what we don't tend to see from him is he's been a very well-known diva his entire career, but it's nice to see him flexing on the Sombra. It's nice to see Shax flexing on some second wind peeps. They're going to go ahead and grab this point A. Mangachu still has that Barrage, so now they got to decide, hey, are we going to run Ghost or are we going to try this again? I mean, you have a couple of ultimates. Might as well see what you can get done because that portcullis is fairly slow to open. So nobody was really even looking at Shax. Was the scary thing for second wind as Speedily was extremely low and shielding, but Avast, you know, may have taken Shax out of the game, but second wind couldn't afford those resources at the time. Bird now trying to throw a couple of volleys Shax's way, who has that pulse bomb at the ready, and Manitin could turn all of the lights off with this EMP, pave the way for a big barrage or a big pulse bomb. So the EMP does go through. Sherrick and Speedily are going to get hacked. Sherrick was unable to get Earth Shatter in that period of time. Mangachu is going to get res and a nice pulse bomb onto the counter to Tracer. That a brig. Justice raining from above, and now we might see some character shifts because the ultimates have been used, but are they in a position to do that? A little bit awkward right here. They won that fight so handily, you might as well give it another shot. Really questioning, you know, where that Transcendence came from for Bird. Didn't really do anything to keep second wind alive throughout all of those fights, and now this means that that's another defensive ultimate gone from the second wind pantry. You do have a grab online, but how can you find someone?
Oh, that was so cool. Using the concussive grenade to move the D.Va self-destruct to save you. I was just thinking, everything is so wide open. The Pharmacy is so susceptible to that self-destruct. God's getting pretty cocky there. 9 times out of 10, that would have worked, but using the displacement against the mech, that was some of the coolest things I've seen recently. As Air Shatter going to be coming through, Shaq's not going to be long for this world. Second win now. Still have that 6v5. The res might be coming through. They are able to get the res onto Shaq. So good heads up playing for Paintbrush, but they're going to want that back because Epps is a better res. Everyone else is going down anyway. Second win does still have a numbers advantage, but they do not have a res for another about 15 seconds. EMP goes through, and I think Mangachu was on the very edge of it. It's just, or maybe already, no, he was on the edge of it, so that's why the Rocket Barrage does go through as well. Some good stuff coming from Mangachu, really proving the fact that he's one of the best Pharahs in the world.
It was a beautiful sound barrier from Hello, I'm Halo to absorb most of that damage, but Second Wind right now, they're only barely surviving. They actually have nobody to go there and challenge Mangachu, who is still reigning free. All he does is boost up into the periphery of Second Wind's range and then rebounds back in. He simply lets gravity drag him towards these tanks, and then he unleashes all of the rockets down upon their heads. Second Wind right now, yes, this is the swap we have to see. Sherrick must go onto the Winston. IM37's McCree is just going to be a cherry on the top right here because right now this is just free damage for Mangachu.
Well, and I don't think anyone expected them to be running this comp for this long. In fact, they're actually going to get a kill on onto the new Winston, and then a lot of other stuff happened, including the Rocket Barrage. Mayhem Academy is going to invest that Transcendence. Maniton very, very close to that EMP, using the Transcendence to make sure that the res goes through. And Shax is on Widow, not really doing much because there's not much to do. Mangachu doing work.
He is actually being the upfront and close brawler, but since we are moving into the since we're moving into the closed confined quarters of Point C, we're gonna see some more goats. Or Sombra goats rather, though. Maniton's been playing a pretty good Sombra thus far, and Second Wind rocking right into it.
Oh, EMP coming in from Maniton, gonna get 5 members, but the deaths are coming in from Mayhem Academy, maybe pulling the trigger a little bit unexpectedly for his team. Second Wind coming out on top.
That was a defense Second Wind had to grab. Boy, I'm still recovering from Mangachu just running a clinic, but Second Wind making the necessary adjustments right here. They had to be expecting that EMP. They walk right into it. You have to anyways, but Sheriff walked into it swinging, and now 82% to the Shatter.
Maniton on the Junkrat, so this is something that they want to do, and they want to try out practicing already for the playoffs, because that is going to be on the current live patch. Second Wind has that self-destruct and rally, but not a Graviton Surge. So, like you said, that last defense was the one they had to win. This one is most likely going to be one that we're going to be jostling for position here. So, Ham, take us away on some like the mentality behind when you're coming into a fight like this, right? You're Mayhem Academy. Second Wind doesn't have their ultimates just yet, but they're ahead of you. Yeah,
so the best case scenario for the attackers in this case would be to draw some ultimates out from Second Wind, who stayed very disciplined, cool, like a cucumber. Nobody panic pressed that Q, even when the engagement came in from Mayhem Academy. Honestly, Second Wind felt like they forced Mayhem Academy's hand right there. Fact Fiction kind of went on the wrong side of the rubble. Maybe he wasn't, you know, ready to all in, and Second Wind took that opportunity to get in a great amount of damage, and Maniton now swapped off of the Junkrat, giving up all of that charge for the D.Va. Big shatter.
Yeah, big shatter, but that's okay. But not really, because Epps used that Transcendence. That's not a really good move there.
That's an Epps Transcendence.
Yeah, because the problem here, and the reason why I'm struggling to find words here, is like Second Wind used one ultimate, right? Mayhem Academy knows. This is one of those rookie mistakes, right? This is the old Mayhem Academy that we're seeing right now. Waste 2 minutes on Junkrat. Maniton comes back onto that D.Va.
Yep, he comes back in here, and things should be all fine and dandy for Mayhem Academy to just, work up to that bomb percentage, but they invest the trance, or rather, Epps invested that trance. So now Second Wind topped off. They have both the trance and the barrier, and just a couple of seconds away from that rally. Ooh, they need it now, though.
But Bird is going to use that Transcendence just in time to keep it alive. They're also going to have to use the sound barrier to keep everything there. Graviton Surge going through onto Mayhem Academy speedily. Both of those showed up at the same time. I'm assuming that's 1 whip, 2 kills for speedily on Second Wind. Mayhem Academy get wiped.
Yeah, and that was an all-out, absolute, ultimate bonanza for both teams, but Second Wind come out on top because they still hold this defense. Even if they lose this next fight, they will have another chance to hold. So Sherrick now has the decision to make. Are we going for the Bash Shatter combo and potentially wipe holding Mayhem Academy right here, or are we saving it as an insurance policy for the very last second? And Bird!
Oh, Bird is continuing to be the word. Second Wind is going to get a 64 here, and with 13 seconds left, it looks like we're going to get this tied up. Mayhem Academy and Second Wind. This has been so back and forth, but Mayhem Academy are unable to finish Eichenwald. Second Wind will find themselves at 1-1. We are tied going into halftime, Ham.
This has been a pretty incredible pullback for Second Wind. Mayhem Academy, they looked like they had all of the answers with Mangachu's Pharah. And it's not a diss against Mangachu at all, who played an amazing Pharah, but sometimes, you know, you just get hard countered by the hero that's put on this earth to hard counter you.
Yep. It's game design at that point, right? We were talking about it a little earlier, too. When you're that Pharah in the air, you have to know how to play against McCree. And Mangachu obviously did, but we're just seeing that power level. All you have to do is hit 2 out of, like, those 10 shots, right?
Bird chipping in, too, you know, with some key volleys right there. I mean, Bird, he's kind of been, like, hot and cold, but when he's hot, man, really contributing to Second Wind.
Well, you know, I think you kind of stumbled upon something that I see in Contenders, and I think it's a little bit of that. Gig kind of plays this way too. Is they live on the poles, right? They're either contributing everything to their team or contributing,
or they're losing
taking
the
it
fight.
away, right?
Right, yeah.
Right, and so there hasn't been a lot of middle ground between. I would probably say those two players are probably the best examples of that, to be completely honest. But Second Wind and Mayhem Academy both find themselves tied right now. This is still anyone's game. Ham, how are you feeling about what might appear after the half?
It's such a big question. I think one of the biggest things will be actually just team composition, right? Second Wind has stuck with that Goats, Sombra Goats kind of look for a very long time. Mayhem Academy have shown more forms. So the question is always going to be, are we going to see a little bit more of that Ham and Pharah? That could obviously work out quite well. A little bit less so, I think, though, on our next map, which will be Assault.
Yep, and so that's going to be it for this first half with both teams tied 1-1. We're going to take our standard 6-minute break, and we'll be back soon.